Wait a minute, Paul. Didn't you just write and assert your authority that I am the apostle of Jesus Christ, sent by Jesus and by the Father? And yet he draws closer to Christ and he realizes, you know what? I'm the least of the apostles. Years later, as he continues his ministry, he writes a letter to Ephesus. And he writes, to me, the very least of all the saints, this grace was given to preach to the Gentiles the unfathomable riches of Christ. He's no longer this preeminent apostle. He's no longer in the exclusive group of the least of the apostles. He is what? The least of all the saints. Remember, years have passed by. He has drawn closer to Christ. And finally, he comes to the end of his life. And he's writing a letter to his mentee, Timothy. And he's expressing to Timothy to be faithful to God, to don't let anyone despise your youth. Preach the gospel, rebuke, reproof in all correction of righteousness. And he writes this in Timothy. It is a trustworthy statement, deserving full acceptance, that Christ Jesus came into the world to save sinners, among whom I am foremost of all. Other versions say chief of sinners. Paul, you? If you, Paul, who wrote 14 letters of the New Testament, if you, Paul, who many people look to understand the gospel of Jesus Christ in the book of Romans, if you declare yourself the chief of sinners, what hope do I have? You know what hope I have? The same hope he had. The man in the middle, Jesus Christ. Paul understood in the quote that we read, and now we see it in his life, in Paul's strange progression, that the closer I get to Jesus Christ, the more I realize my frailty, my need of him.